Hi there, I'm Candy Glendening. Come and take a tour of my studios. So I'm a textile artist, and what that means is that I dye fabric so I can have just the color and texture that I need for my artwork, both art quilts, everyday art, and hand-dyed scarves as well. And to do that, I need a place to dye fabric. And I do that right here in my side yard, which has lots of shade all day, which is great. So my main working spot here is my custom dyeing sink of awesomeness. It's something that I designed and had made for me several years ago. It's exactly what I need. It's got a protected workbench with a big lip to catch any spills. And then the sink, as you can see, is pretty shallow and holds 4 dish pans, and this is how I rinse the fabric that I've been working on. But anyways, this sink is it's a dream to work on, and it's just great. The most important part of any sewing studio is the sewing machine, and here's mine. I get lots of natural light, and I can see out into my backyard. It's great. Love it. I also have a place to cut fabric, place to iron fabric, very important. Got a closet full of fabric, more fabric here, and a design wall, which is foam insulation covered with flannel that allows me to stick pieces that are in process up on the board so I can see how they're working together. So I've got 2 pieces here. The squares on the right, and then basically the thing that I just dyed today is going to go in the center there. So, and then of course I spend a lot of time at my computer as well. The space next to my sewing machine also makes a great place for me to start the process of my glue resist dyeing, which is adding the glue on top of the fabric. So the glue is a special kind of it's the Elmer's school glue no run gel. And what I'm doing right now is drawing a design on the fabric with the glue. And basically there's a piece of paper with some guidelines underneath the fabric. You can see right through the white fabric to those dark lines. And that's on a piece of paper that will come off. So it allows me to keep my design not from twisting off course. So I have a vague plan put in place by those lines, and then I set about filling in those subdivisions with patterns by glue. And yes, there's no such thing as a glue eraser, so whatever comes out of the bottle, that's what I get. So anyway, I always do this in the late afternoon or evening so that it can dry overnight, and then I dye it the next day. So here is that piece of fabric that I drew the design on with glue last night. I dipped it into the Indigo dye bath, and like literally as we're watching it, it comes out of the Indigo dye bath yellow-green color, which is the reduced form of it. And now that it's being exposed to oxygen in the air, it's oxidizing and becoming blue. And that's how indigo dyeing works. The reduced form is soluble in water and can penetrate the fibers of the fabric that you're dyeing. But in the presence of oxygen, it changes form and becomes insoluble in water, and it becomes trapped in the fibers. And so wherever the glue was is keeping the indigo from penetrating the fibers there. So you can see the design a little bit, and this is a first dip. I'll do at least two dips more. Well, you can see it quite well actually. But what we're seeing now is the glue that is dried in the fabric is keeping the indigo, but some of the indigo will kind of sit on top of the glue. Anyway, so it is it's oxidizing, and I'm going to do some more dyeing, some indigo dyeing, while I wait for this to completely oxidize, and then I will dip it again, and I will dip it again. So in each dip, more of the yellow-green reduced form will penetrate and end up becoming bluer and bluer and bluer. Along with dyeing with indigo, I dye with professional fabric dyes called Procyon MX Fiber Reactive dyes. And as you can see, I can get all the colors of the rainbow and much more from my beloved Procyon MX Fiber Reactive dyes. The downside of Procyon is that you can't see what you've got right away. You've got to set up the dyes on the fabric and let them what's called batch. So a chemical reaction happens where the dyes get permanently bonded to the fibers in the fabric. And then after that, you have to wash to get all the little extra bits of color out, stuff that hasn't bonded to the fabric, to get it all out. But so then, once I dry it, finally then I can see what I've actually got, because the wet fabric looks different from the dry. So here is some fabric I dyed last week, just pulled out of the dryer. So I actually pulled out the washing machine and I hung it on the line to dry. And here's the finished result after dipping the piece of fabric in the indigo dye vats 3 more times, I think. I then took the whole thing and put it in a tub of soapy water, just warm, sudsy water. And when I do that, the glue dissolves, and you can see the pattern that was drawn with the glue. And you could see parts where the glue didn't really penetrate very well, where I perhaps drew the line too quickly, or anyways, there's lots of imperfections, which is you gotta kind of accept that. But really, all of my work, I like to work with things where I show the hand of the maker. So anyway, so here are just a few more, a couple of scarves, a piece of fabric. I've been experimenting with a couple of different ways to dunk the bundles. And then somebody has asked me to experiment with indigo dyeing over Madras plaid. So that's what that is. But anyway, so there you have it, just a little bit of how I work. And I hope that you have fun kind of following all of us artists along who normally would be showing at Art for Heaven's Sake right now. I hope you enjoyed this little peek into my colorful world. If you want to learn more, stop by my blog at candiedfabrics.com or find me on Instagram or Facebook as Candied Fabrics.